now, and people are always asking me, aren't you afraid that you're going to break down out in the woods and you're going to be all alone? And the answer to that is no, I don't have that fear. And the reason I don't have that fear is because a van or taking care of that kind of problem is the least of my worries. Well, I have a low battery here. Sorry about that. I hope I don't get hung up on, but I may. Oh Lord, it's okay. It's one of those days. I'm not worried about it, so I'll just charge up my phone as we talk. Anyway, I'm doing a series to take care of all of these 5 things that I'm going to be talking about in this live tonight. And those 5 things are: your skills are transferable, why information is better than a screwdriver, how to talk to a mechanic, that's my favorite one, and your house is going to break more than your van does, and why it's your turn to be doing this. So the first one is your skills are transferable. So let's talk about that for a minute, because I don't know how old you are watching this, but you have survived 100% of the problems that you've had so far in your life. And you may have had problems some of the things that may have happened to you may have been about family, drama in the family, maybe divorce or death, things that you've had to deal with, and health, maybe yours or somebody else that has, had problems that had to be solved. Finances, that's a good one. We always have to be solving problems of some kind with finances. Either you have too little or you have too much, right? But there's always a problem. And so when you took care of all of those things in your life, you gained skills, figuring out skills, how to solve problem skills. It's kind of like, if you were up all night with the kids and they had a fever, you learned about fevers, you learned how to take care of fevers, and that's kind of like the same thing that happens in a van. And they don't necessarily get fevers, but the engine may get overheated, same kind of thing. So you've learned over the years how to solve all of these problems. You may not have learned how to change the oil in your van, but it's something that you can. The next one is information is better than a screwdriver. These things all have to be learned. It's things like, as I was just talking about with your kids, or finances, or family problems. Everything that happened, you had to learn something to go with it. And let me just tell you what I have here. This is my folder. This is my folder of information. I have in this folder every manual that goes with my van, right from the toaster oven, my inverter. This one is dog-eared, okay, because I have read this entire manual from start to finish, so I know what's in it. This one, you can see I've had all of these issues. I have notes on this one. I know all of the error codes that go with my heater, because I need this information in my head, because if something happens, I want to know what's the matter. And if I get an error code and it's an error code that is 44, then I have under voltage, battery voltage is too low, and that's why my heat shut off. And being armed with this information empowers you. It does. It's better than a screwdriver. Although I have a lot of screwdrivers too, because I need those. So let me talk to you just a minute about, and people laugh at this, but it's worked very well for me. Somebody that I used to have a business with, he called it the scrunchy face. The scrunchy face. But this is how I talk to a mechanic. And when I say a mechanic, I'm talking about a van mechanic, and I'm also talking about the house mechanic. And when I know I have some kind of a problem, and by the way, let me just show you this. I have this, this is information. I have this thing. You know how when you go to a mechanic, they're going to plug it into the computer? Well, this is a computer, and I've used this before and actually was able to diagnose the problem before I got to the shop. Because I had this, they were going to plug it into the computer, and I knew what the answer was. And I was right, because I had information and I had the tool to do it. But when I go to a mechanic, you know, typically you think that you would go in and say, well, okay, so my dash light is on and I think it's that, you know, my seatbelt is broken, whatever it is. And so I need a written estimate from you to tell me how much it's going to cost to fix it. Wrong way to do this. This is what I do. I have a problem. I have in my mind, because I am armed with my information, but I'm not a know-it-all, okay? I'm armed with my information. I have an idea what's going on. So I go in and I play dumb. And I say, this is what's going on. My dash light is on, or, you know, my heater's not working, or whatever it is. And then I just step back and let them tell me what they think it is. And if they tell me something totally different than what I think it is, then even if it's the same thing, I ask this question: why do you think it's that? I want to know why they think it's that, because if they have dealt with that same problem before, then that's one thing. But if they haven't, I don't intend to pay a mechanic to go to school on my problem. So if they have never dealt with this problem, they've never fixed one before, then I need a different mechanic. I need somebody who knows how to do it. So they tell me what they think it is. I ask all the questions. Why do you think that is? Have you ever done this before? And then if I'm in disagreement with their answers, I get on the scrunchy face and I'm, well, I really thought, because what it said in my book over here was it might be this problem. So what do you think about that? And again, you are interviewing the mechanic. You're the CEO of your van. You're interviewing the mechanic, and if you're not, it's just like if you've interviewed anybody else in your life. If the mechanic does not meet the requirements of the job, then you don't have to hire him. You don't have to hire him. I think that we are, and I'm talking a lot about women here because I am one, obviously, but I think we're kind of programmed, and this has to do with mechanics, but it also has to do with anybody in authority, like, you know, a doctor or anything like that. Whatever they say, you feel like that's what you have to do. That's what you have to go with. And that's not true. And if you're old like me, or you're getting older, the more you've lived, the more you understand that is not necessarily how it is. So that's one of the reasons I'm not afraid of breakdowns, is because I'm armed with information. I have my life skills that I've lived with to get up to this point, and I'm survived. And I know how to interview a mechanic. So with all of those things, getting to that point, let me say this, that your chances are, and this happens, you can ask anybody who lives on the road, chances are your things in your house are going to break down before anything in your van does, in the chassis and the engine. Because the thing about that is, everything in your house, when you drive, it rattles. It's always something going on. It's rattling. And because of that, things are more apt to break. Wires come unloose, screws fall off. But you don't need to panic, because, again, it's simply an information problem. Why is this doing this? And, you know, learn things like, how do fuses work? What are fuses? And how do I know whether one's blown? If I have something over here that's not working, is it possible that I have a blown fuse? These are things that you can learn yourself very easily, so you don't take it to a shop and you have to have a fuse replaced and pay somebody $200 an hour just to replace a fuse. These are things that you learn, and it's just like any other tragedy that you've had in your life. You've had to learn how to get through it. Same thing. But I'm going to guess, if you are like me, some of the tragedies and problems that you've had in your life are way worse than a blown fuse. Way worse. Way worse. At least they were for me. So, yes, things are going to break down. There's no question about it. Just don't panic. Learn the information and know how to handle it. And I think panic is one of the things that maybe is holds people back from getting on the road and living there, even though you might really want to, is the stress and the anxiety about the fact that what if something breaks. So be empowered, get the information, learn it. This comes to my final point here, and that is, again, I'm talking to women, but this can very much apply to men as well. And that is this: you have taken care of people your entire life. No question about it. You've taken care of people your entire life. And now it's time for you to take care of yourself. It's time for you to be able to have the courage to get on the road, and if that's what you want, and to learn the things that you have to know in order to do that without having stress and anxiety all the time. For me, as soon as I moved into my van, I'm kind of a mechanical person. I like to take things apart and put them back together. That may not be you, and that's okay. I had to learn how to do that originally, and my dad spent a lot of time with me, and you may have to do the same thing as well. But it's your time now. I don't care how old you are. If you want to live on the road, do not let fear of breakdowns prevent you from living your best life, because this is an amazing life, and just learn how to do it, I guess. I don't know. That's all I have to say. I just wanted to go over those 5 things and to remind you again that I'm starting a series. It's going to have checklists. I'll have my mechanic script in there so you can memorize that, and just all the things that I want to talk to subject by subject a little more thoroughly, so that you can actually have that information, because I don't want anybody to not be on the road because they have anxiety or panic or stress about breaking down. So that's all I have to say today. Thank you so much for joining in, and be sure to subscribe so that you can get this series as it unfolds. So anyway, thank you so much, and have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon.